There are around the world some 10 fog projects, and when I say fog projects, we simply mean the construction of a contraption that traps the micromillimeters of fog droplets on a net surface, allowing them to slide down this surface, amass little by little until they become substantial amounts of water. The organization I head, Dar Si Hmad, has built such a project. It is, as of today, the largest functioning project in the world and delivers water in the high Atlas Mountains of southwest Morocco. With our German partners, the Wasserstiftung, we have revolutionized the technology, and this project has just recently, as he just was told, been honored by the UNFCCC Momentum for Change Prize. But I don't want to tell you this story tonight. I invite you to find it through our website and other publications, because at the end of the day, when fog potable water flows inside the homes, its source has been forced into one stream, pun intended. But what I'm interested in today is to tell you a story of transformation. And I call it the other fog. Whenever I go visit Buch Mesgida, that's the site where we have the fog nets, I come back home to the city of Agadir, where we live, transformed. My daughter, who is 11 years old, who is present with us today, asked me with the insight that only a child has a feeling that others won't see. Mom, you are different when you come back from the countryside. And then, yes, I see it, and I ask, why? What triggers such a different state of being? I had to evaluate it to come up with answers for my daughter, but first I had to be able to articulate it to my conscious self. What is this ineffable thing that brings about another state of being? So while this story may be of a personal one, and we've heard many of them today, it is also a collective story of how we engage with our natural world, how we interact with the various forms of materialities of this planet in which we breathe, live, move, bear effect, dine, and remain living memories. The fog I want to talk to you about is this kind of fog: thick, powerful, a sea of whiteness, wet, humid, and very mighty. Metaphorically, when we say fog, fogginess, we refer to a state of blur, of unclarity. Fog is a nuisance, especially for air traffickers, pilots, and drivers on the road. For many cultures around the world, ecological anthropology teaches us how fog is put in a category of its own because it occupies an undefined position within the dichotomies ascribed to natural elements, night and day, rain and sun, of the structural binaries. But it is here I wish you to pause and think through some of the underlying assumptions of what fog is, to invite you to consider there might be some deeper significance to fog than a simple cause for flight delays. Fog represents in-betweenness. It occupies and straddles worlds, which endows it with haziness. It is not dark, but not clear either, and blocks light. It is not rain, but it is damp and causes wetness, its drizzle being pervasive. Fog is at play between temperatures of heat and cold. These different layers pertaining to the being of fog have led me to describe it as a fog mystique, as a phenomenon of the order of the ethereal, a calling to be reminded of the awe and wonder of the universe. Fog mystique. When we isolate fog droplets, they are extremely tiny and fragile. At this scale, each drop trembles as it condenses on the surface before sliding into the gutter. Isolating the fog phenomenon into these basic units illustrates how it transforms from the state of the small into the strong. Surely not reaching the mighty waters in a moving river or the sea, these droplets have enough force when individual crystals turn into a collective entity. They are capable of bringing immense change to communities. In scientific literature on fog collection technology, fog is often described as a passive method. Moisture is trapped in the air, pushed by active wind to pass through and stick to the mesh surface. But I often question this ascribed state of passivity. Fog is invasive and spreads slowly into every possible corner, inviting us to consider passivity differently. I want to evoke the tempo of fog, moving towards the mountain, which in truth, what has transformed me. At 4,300 feet, with a bird's eye view of the Atlantic Ocean for 19 miles and 8 miles to the Sahara Desert, the fog forms like a whole body, like a sea that very slowly rolls in, advancing with wave like movements, filling the empty space and spreading. As each wave rolls in and the process gets larger, spreads, disappears by folding in and leaves space for a new wave. And while this is happening, there is not even one sound. Unlike the roaring, lulling, or soothing sound of sea waves, here all is shrouded in complete silence. This mass of mighty fog rolls, however, with organic grace. For me, such moment embodies the concept of nonviolence. Fog never manifests itself in a violent form like a pouring rain or hail, like a tough sun or a destructive wind. Fog is just gentle. Perhaps a bit of a stretch, but let me invite you to think of it differently, to relate to this moving sea of mirrors of white velvet with grace and beauty, rolling seamlessly, swelling and descending, gaining momentum and spreading with confidence and calm, with beautiful strength and utter elegance. Once the fog has descended and one is enshrouded within it, there is a different sense of opaqueness, one that allows you to see, but only as you move. This opaqueness that prevents vision beyond 1 kilometer, and actually that is the scientific definition of fog, but the circumference of this 1 kilometer, like a moving target, is always on the move and always changing. But fog is temperamental. It comes at odd hours and then leaves, dissipates into thin air. Fog swells and rises at thresholds, moments which, at potentially symbolic of the human quest to understand cycles of life and death, arriving at the crack of dawn and with the setting sun. At these moments when ends and beginnings are blurred. Though demystified at times by meteorology, we know what conditions create fog. The coming of fog is always a surprise, bringing a sense of the unexpected, calling attention just to the moment. And finally, I want to invite you to think about the smell and the memory of fog. Fog carries with it the trace of its origin. The smell and memory are subtle for sure, but are there. In the work we do with our partners of the Canary Islands, we believe that fog travels slowly between the southern coasts of Morocco and the Canary Islands, especially in the northern part of Tenerife and the famous Gomera Island, where there are tropical-like forests with the virgin laurel forests, which are a UNESCO heritage entity, and invite you to think about this endless movement of fog that reaches back to geological memory of this planet and the dance of the primary elements. And to conclude, these are some of the reasons why I can respond to my daughter's question, Mama, why are you different when you come back from Boutmesguida? I believe that these are moments that engage the human senses in heightened ways, in ways that bring the familiar into sharp relief. In the local language, Boutmesguida in Amazigh in Berber is a word for the place of prayer, the sacred lieu, really lieu in the French sense, filled with reverence. In these places, we connect with the mighty powers that make this immense and awe-inspiring universe. Boutmesguida, regardless of the doctrinal affiliation, is where we connect with Gaia and the very mystery of being. Now, to be physically in fog is to be in a space where there is a loss of visibility, a loss of the visual cues and references that determine, for those of us who rely on vision, where we are. Thus, being in fog is a way of being alone, of crossing the bridge from the self to the world and back. It is for this reason that I have come to think of fog as a powerful fog mystique paradigm, an ethereal phenomenon of material gas turned into passion. Thank you.